Ho, me hearties, a very, very good morning to you. It's just me, Scottie McClue, and I thought I'd say a quick hi, see how you're getting on, and see what is what with you. Lovely to be with you, of course. Do come and join me, and we can get a bit of chit-chat going. That's what it's always about, I say. Welcome to the TikTok Dinky Doo. If you've not met me before, I'm Scottie McClue, capital S, small C, O, double T-I-E, the McClue, capital M, small C, capital C, L-U-E, and I am the First Lord of the Internet. So lovely to be with you. Tell 10 to tell 10 to tell 10 and let everyone know that we are live and then come and join us. Because really, to be quite honest with you, everyone on TikTok should be following Scottie McClue. Hello, Scottie. Hello, James. How nice to have you with us. And a big dinky do to you, I say. Is this a wee surprise? I tell you. Good morning from Blackpool, says Bobby. Bobby, we love you in Blackpool. This is absolutely marvellous and so good that you could come and join us. Dinky do to Blackpool. How's the weather looking today? Is it pleasant? Have you got the sunshine? Happen, Scotty, E.R. Bass. Happen, I tell you. Yes, indeed. Scottie McClue live just for you on the TikTok. Never scroll, never troll. Dinky do to you. Dinky do to you, James. Yes, I say to you. And we're at Blackpool as well. This is what I love about TikTok worldwide. Fantastic stuff. Dinky Doo, there's our man joining us. Lovely to have you with us, of course. And guys, thanks for all the gifts, for all the likes, for watching all the videos. They are great. They're all made for you, I tell you. Mr. McClue, sir, now here's a blast from the past. Do you remember me from the past? I tell you, 32 years last week. What do you think about the major loss of SNP seats? I think it was probably coming, to be honest with you, but we could talk a little bit more about that now that the election's over. Bobby says, I've had a leg amputation below the knee. You cheer me up. Bobby, I am so sorry to hear that, but I send strength and I send love to you. And, you know what I mean by that. Big love. Absolutely. And we want you getting out there, get the physio, Bobby, and get about, I tell you. Where's all the Reform fans? Well, no, they've done very well. They've got several seats. I was actually very impressed because you need a strong opposition, and we're going to have a tough time. Don't think it's going to get easy now that Rishi's gone. I used to listen to late night phoning on Scott FM. Good times, Scotty. They were amazing times. I met a gentleman yesterday who was just singing their praises, saying that these shows were amazing. Surprised about George Galloway's loss, seeing his huge majority in the by-election. Yes, indeed, yes. No, the whole thing is very, very interesting. I haven't got into it, so I'm not ahead of you. Do you like the honesty there? You see, rather than act the smarty pants, I tell you. But a wonderful, wonderful orator, our George, and quite a man in the House of Commons. I can tell you, so there we go. And we need all these different voices to put together what's happening in the world, rather than let the big wigs just have it all their own way and rifle the till. Now then, Jamesy boy, did you know? Yes, indeed. Darius, good to hear from you. Scotty, are you surprised by the Outer Hebrides switching from SNP to Labour? Well, no, you see, David, because I'm actually old enough to go back to when the Outer Hebrides was all Labour and the SNP were just a twinkle in their daddy's eye. I mean, the SNP is 90 years old and they've always had ups and downs, and many times they've actually snapped defeat from the jaws of victory. I can tell you that. I'll give you the whole background to the SNP going right back. There's obviously a market for late-night phone-in. You had a huge audience, as I recall. Scottie Mac, it was so funny because there are so many misconceptions. And somebody said to me, if you're going to Scotland, I don't think the Scots will go for your style. So I said, oh, really? And then the next thing was, what time are you on? 10 o'clock at night. Graveyard slot. I can't see you getting much of an audience. 250,000 per half hour. 10% of the population. I switched from Labour to Reform, getting more conservative as I get older. I think Reform are quite cheery. How old are you, says Liam. Liam, I was 68 last week. So there you go. I was at the week before. Difficult to remember at my age. I tell you, Reform UK. Yes, Joe T. I tell you, Reform UK. But it would have been a conversation with Nigel and say, look, we in Scotland really do want to go it alone if you don't mind. You know, that sort of thing. I was 53 yesterday, says Scottie. Wow, Scottie, good one. You're still kicking your height, Scottie. Getting there, Ian, I could do with being a bit shorter if I was going to kick my height, but we're getting there. But it's still good to be around, you know what I mean? 40 years in television and radio and online. And I think it's good to be around and just say hi to everybody. And also check out the YouTube channel. You'll see the URL in the bio. Give it a wee tap. In fact, all of you, give it a tap now and go and subscribe. And I've put up some of my favourite movies for you. So you'll get some good stuff there. The share of the vote must set up Reform well for the next election if they do well in Parliament. Well, let's have it. Nigel really is a breath of fresh air, regardless of what you think of his politics, whether you're with him, whether you're against him. But I mean, he emanates a sense of hope for politics and a sense of hope for the nation. I mean, it was harsh in Scotland being dragged out of Europe, but I don't know that I'd really want to go back into Europe now. Maybe go into certain bits of it, but that's a conversation. But Europe has become, rather than economic, it's become so political that I don't know if Britain does want to go back and sit at the big table. But we were very silly to leave it at that time. So there you are. Well done to Nigel Farage from the Reform Party. At least you're not pushing up the daisies, says Paul. Well, no, not yet. But people think I am. The number of people I bump into who say, oh, I thought you were dead. And I say, well, apparently not. And we can still get out of our beds at our age. We're doing no bad. Listen, if you can get out of your bed and put your socks on, you're doing very well. That's what I would say. Congratulations to Richard Dinky-Doo. Thank you for putting a rose in McClue's gift gallery. We have a wee goal here, guys, but you never, ever, 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 ever have to give Scottie McClue a thing. Okay? Very important. Now then, who else have we got here? Just sent a gift. Richard, you are a very, very kind man. Richard has sent 20 red roses. And Richard does this all the time. He's a very, very generous man. Just going to have a quick sip. Oh, that's lush. I tell you. So there we go. Now, who else have we got here? Oh my gosh, it's Scottie McClue. Oh my gosh, so it is. The people of Scotland have lost faith in the SNP. I voted Halba. Well, I think the SNP shenanigans have not helped them recently, but we'll get stabilised. You know, I might step up to the plate myself. I voted Reform. Should we have Reform Scotland? And I might stand up for that one. What about that, guys? Fair play. I should probably avoid politics, mate. I upset people. Scottie Mac, listen, people get upset if they care. The people who don't get upset don't care very often. So don't ever worry about that, you know. You get discussing everything you like. Dinky-Doo from East Kilbride. Hate him or not, Nigel Farage is an unbelievable speaker. I don't even like him, but I'll admit it. But why do you not like him? Is it his politics? Because the man himself is absolutely charming. So there you go. Lovely manners and great speaker and everything. What do you think about Labour's Ayrshire constituency? Well, that's nothing new. Let's have it straight. Loved your radio show years ago, Scottie. User 783. You're very, very kind. Josh, what are you doing? Josh is giving me millions of red roses. Josh, what a lovely, lovely thing to do. You're very, very kind. Do you think independence is gone? No, Kev. Independence will never go, because the problem is there was never a case for the Union. Queen Anne did it by jiggery-pokery, skullduggery, bribery and corruption. She got Scotland for £25,000 because King Billy, very, 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 very bad man. I said to the Orange Lodge, take that man off your banners. Have nothing to do with them. He's a real baddie. And, all that sort of stuff. So independence, Scotland should never have sold out in 1707. They had, I think it was 320 MPs in the Scottish Parliament through at Parliament Square in Edinburgh. You know where I am? Up at the High Street there. And they should never, ever really have gone in with England. The Crowns had united, and that kind of set the scene. But the Crowns are apolitical, as you know. So independence will never go. It's a bit of an open thing, do you know what I mean? I don't mean an open wound, but there is wounding there that goes a way back. Absolutely. Scottie, I hope you voted reform. So there you are. Well, we will have to see what happens here, won't we? Hi, Scottie, are you still driving? Yes, we're still driving, user 347. Absolutely. So, you might want to send your licence back to Swansea. Scottie, for First Minister. Yes, I've been told I would be an excellent First Minister. But there we are. But I'm not a politician, and I'm apolitical, really. I'm not a member of any party. That's my problem, isn't it? Follow us, guys, as soon as you possibly can. Ever to get following. Know me, the other Scottie. Dinky-doo from Ireland. Matt, whereabouts in Ireland are you? I love it to bits. No, Scottie, no clue would be closer to it. Now, Ral, that's just silliness. Ral, no clue. You see? Why would I have no clue? We've been 40 years in television and radio. 2 degrees, an IQ of 164. Where are you getting the no clue from? Do you know what I mean? Dafty. Right, I want Alex Salmon running Scotland. Come on, Alba. Yes, Alec would be good, I tell you. Back in the day, your fire made my day. Look, the fire still burns brightly, I tell you. It was only 99p, Scottie. Josh, it's more than that. It's the thought. It's the kindness. You know what I mean? Scotland wants independence. Well, I would say Scotland needs independence. Economically, it's an absolute doddle. And there's a great case for it. There's no case for the Union. But I don't think the SNP can deliver it. And what you need to do, and you won't like this, a lot of you, you need to get 100% behind the crown, behind the monarchy, behind our head of state, King Charles. Why would he put his moniker on and give royal assent on a bill, making it an act, if, he was signing himself out of business? Come on, folks. Wakey, wakey. That's how we lost in 2014, the anti-monarchists, the dafties. Hi, Team Scottie, dinky-doo, Soralba. Soralba, I say. I'm English and travel to Fife every 2 weeks. I love Scotland and the people. I hope we all stand united. We stand united, but Scotland has nothing to gain from the Union. But the rest of the Union gains from Scotland. You'll see my videos. Look at the top of the TikTok videos. Yes, there's one there's had about, I think it's 75,000 people have viewed it. Some comments in the live have been filtered. We love that. That means that the wee trolls have been booted down this morning. Follow us, guys, as soon as you possibly can. Should we have elections? No, Ollie, I don't think that would go down too well. We love it. There we are. Just sent a gift. You're very, very kind, Luke. Thank you for that. What's your views on the Just Stop Oil? They need to be stopped. I would think life imprisonment for hosing down Stonehenge or something. I mean, they really need to stop these people because they're totally misinformed. You see, what people aren't realising, the green thing is obviously a bit of a con. Let's have it straight. They're after a bit of money. Oh, you don't need gas, you need a heat pump. Heat pumps don't work that well. So you've got all that kind of stuff. CO2 is the gas of life. The trees love CO2, and the trees are the lungs of the world. So you see, these elites are off message for the truth here. So we're not needing to, it's blindingly sheer arrogance, blinding arrogance to think that human beings could change the pattern. I mean, yes, there's machines that interfere with weather for different reasons governments around the world use. But, to think that you can actually change the heating and cooling pattern of the earth just with a few cow farts. Sorry, not buying that one, and a few electric cars, which cost an absolute fortune to manufacture. And, you've got little ones mining the lithium, and, oh, terrible. So they are, did you vote SNP, says Struan? Well, Struan, I never tell people what I vote. What's your views on them? So the Just Stop Oil, bottom line, we're going to need fossil fuels, and even that's a misnomer, but we're going to need fossil fuels for about another 80 years at least, and we're 80% fossil fuels. So remember the two 80s there, right? 80 years and 80%. Labour, rest in peace the SNP. No, Greg, they'll bounce back. Listen, it's very rare for any organisation to fire on all cylinders non-stop. The SNP has been with us for 90 years. They've made themselves entirely respectable, until certain incidents within the last few years. But, 90 years, they've acquitted themselves very well. They've run Scotland very well. We've all benefited in Scotland from the SNP, and I think we'll feel the draft if we don't have them in there. So, they're in for another while anyway. So there's no rest in peace. The SNP will be with us in Scotland for a long time to come, I tell you. And they'll be in government for some time to come. So there you have it, you see. No, folks, I tell you, I'm not just an athlete. Party, you say, I've got a wee carry out. Where's the party? A socialist future for the UK. Yes, you don't want too much of that, because who's going to pay for it? You see, socialism, let me give you an example of what socialism is. I've got £5. There's 4 of you and me. How much do we get each? You haven't got anything. I've got £5. Being a socialist, we get £1 each, right? Now, once we've spent our quid, everybody comes back to Scottie and goes, Scottie, we've spent our quid. Have you got any more money? I go, no, I'm a socialist. There's no money. I gave it away to you guys. Did you squander it? Well, I bought some fags and went and got some booze, and so it's not difficult, you see. Hello from Cornwall, the wonderful Paul Glover down in Cornwall there. Yeah, Penzance, Goonhilly, Mousel, Elston, love it. We love it. Fantastic. Scottie was the best. What do you think about Fort William? Well, I wonder if we should rename it. It was named after King Billy. And King Billy was genuinely a very, very, very bad man. Very bad man. So I think, what about calling it Fort Alex after Alex Salmond? I think that might be a nice touch. So there we go. Now, what have we got here? Blue waffle. Never heard so much blue waffle in my life. Barnsley, the drop bombs. Drop bombs, Dottie. Barnsley. Scottie McClue, how do you do? I used to deliver your dog food. You did tease it, and thank you for that. It was wonderful. The bag of dog food, the dog has long gone. That's the reason I haven't been into the shop. It makes sense to get behind the crown. Well, yes, because the crown is there, and it's our symbol of authority, and it's our symbol of wealth. I tell you, are you still drinking Scottish water all the time? That's why I'm big and strong. Hi, how are we doing? Irene, lovely to have you with us, dinky do. If Scotland was independent during COVID, Scotland would have gone bankrupt. No, not at all. Scotland would never go bankrupt because Scotland doesn't have any borrowing powers. Westminster takes all of our money. It gives us some pocket money back. But we give our money to Westminster. So if Scotland had been independent, it would have had an extra £47 billion in the bank. We could probably all have not needed to go back to our work at all. Scottie, are we in trouble now, fella? Yeah, we might be, Moog Moon. Yes, tease out, I tell you. Love you, Scottie. Thank you, Daz. Wait until the Scottish elections for further SNP annihilation. Yes, as long as we've got an independence party. Do you see what I mean? The SNP should have actually gone and delivered. They shouldn't have listened to anything coming out of Westminster about it's not the right time and what you're going to do about the monarchy. All that sort of nonsense. Answers straight away, not a problem. So there you go. Currency, sterling or pegged to sterling. Ireland had it to about 20 years ago, their own currency, the punt. So there we are. Just stop annoying us is what I think of Just Stop Oil. No, they're just totally misinformed. They're probably people who are do-gooders and they think they're doing good by causing vandalism for no reason at all. They're never, ever, ever going to stop oil. It's almost as common as water. There we are, and we need it. Goodbye, Scottie. Bye, Daz. Take care. Have a lovely day. And so there we go. Now, who have we got here? Listening off the coast of Portugal, Scottie lad. Dinky do to you. I tell you, Big H, are you sailing? How wonderful is that? The Tories controlling our weather. Well, no, I don't think the Tories do it. But there are certain controls on weather to try and change it a bit. Independence for Orkney and Shetland, Holyrood just as far away as Westminster for belters. Well, yes, but I mean, where would your government be? Would it be in Kirkwall? Would it be in Lerwick? Would it be in Papa Westray? Would it be in Unst? Would it be in Yell? You see? Because I know what you lot are like. You're beautiful, beautiful people. But once you get round the table, there'd be a bit of argy-bargy. You had to fly, Earthly Westray, the day for the meeting. So we need to get together and see what's happening. We're in an interglacial warming cycle. What's the hard to understand for the hard of thinking? Scottie Mac, you're 100% correct. It's not rocket science, as I told them at my NASA interview. We were lied to. The centre of the earth was lava. The bottom of the sea would be boiling, not cold. Well, no, I don't know that it would be boiling just with the cooling of the water. How do the election affect Scotland? Do MPs sit in Parliament to make policies for Scotland? Reese, yes, we really need to be back to being independent. The SNP will bounce back, but I want Halba and Alex Salmond in an independent Scotland. I think I would like to see Alex Salmond. I think he's a terrific character. I would like to see him as the President of Scotland. So you've got the King as the head of state. You've got Alex Salmond as the President of Scotland, and you've got John Swinney or whoever happens to be in the seat at the time as your First Minister. So you've got the King, the President, and the First Minister. What's not to like? I tell you. Right, you and me have to disagree about the SNP. Big stuff, it's all good. That's democracy in action. But what are we disagreeing about? A great result for Scotland. Glad to see the downfall of the corrupt SNP party. Yeah, and what about, are you thinking about the very honest Tory party and the very honest Labour party? Are these the ones you're thinking, all these honest parties rather than the one party? Hello from Liverpool. Hey, John, we love the bones of you. Lovely to have you with us, I tell you. Hi from Bolton. Bolton, we love it. So there we are. Rename it Fort Charles Kennedy. Yes, well, he was a great guy, Charlie Kennedy. There we are. I mean, I know he had a personal weakness at the end, but he was a great guy. Very, very clever man, Charles Kennedy. Used to love him in the telly. Fort Alex, Fort Bruce, and Fort Wallace. Right, so what are you talking about? Are you talking about Fort William, Fort George, and Fort Augustus? Is that the three that you would rename? Scotland is Labour. Well, it had been for a long time. But the SNP, when they came in, were a breath of fresh air, because Labour were getting tired. And they'd had so many kind of changes of management. Excuse me, small drink. When I say small drink, I'm not talking about myself, you understand. Could Westminster give me a wee bit then? We give them more per capita. Listen, watch Scottie McClue's video on TikTok, right at the top. It's pinned to the top of the TikTok videos. Can you all see the TikTok videos? If you can, have a look. I tell you. There we are, no to independence. Cloud cuckoo, Scotland's bankrupt. No, Bobby, Scotland couldn't possibly be bankrupt. Scotland is very, 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 very rich and wealthy. We give all our money to Westminster so they can fritter it, yeah? But Scotland can't be bankrupt because it's got no borrowing powers. Do you see what I'm saying? So there you are. You're locked in then, laddie. Well, I don't have a lot. I'm apolitical. Scotland has said no once again to independence. No. Scotland said no to the SNP in big numbers. But it's not said no to independence and never ever will. And even at the referendum 10 years ago, only just over half of Scotland said no to independence. And your Westminster MPs don't always make that clear. When you had your answer, they said no. No, they didn't say no. Just over half said no. You're talking nonsense, says Bobby. No, Bobby, I'm talking 100% sense. I've never talked nonsense in my life, but I do like a lot of nonsense. So there we are. Great to see you again, big man. Absolute legend. Love from Cretan, Scotty. Now there's Diker in Cretan. And those of you who don't know Cretan, it's actually Cree Town down in the borders. Well, it's not really in the borders. It's a west coast town, Cretan. There we are. Hello from Stirling. Now there you are, right at the centre of democracy. Yes, Bruce and Wallace. Oh, yes. It's the Alva Games on Saturday. Oh, I hope you get a good day for it. I had a friend lying on the beach once in Morocco, and he looked up and he said to the chap that he was lying on the beach with, he goes, "Aye, they're getting a fine day for the Keith show." There we are now. Kirkwall, yes, we love it. If we're such a drain in Westminster, let us go. Yes, they won't because they like the money. No, we're not a drain at all. We keep it alive. We paid for Richer and Keir and all that lot to do their stuff. We send them £75 billion a year. So don't think Scotland's short of money. Not my king, says a silly Billy. Everybody's king, silly Billy. Conspiracy toaster. Everybody's king. Yes, indeed. And the king is really just the custodian and curator of the crown. So everyone's crown, you see? That's what it's about. But I know you don't understand how it works. Let's not get it twisted. They're all the same. I wouldn't trust the SNP with my money. No, you'd rather give it to the Tories, wouldn't you? And to Keir Starmer's Labour, yes. Yes, your money would be so much safer, you think, with them. Hope he doesn't give them his money. Morning from Montrose. Lovely to hear you in Montrose. And dinky do, I say, to Montrose. I'm at Loch Lomond. Where are you? I've taken the high road. Did you take the low road? I'm in Scotland. Aye. Good morning. When you say small drink, do you mean a wee swally? No, I don't do swallies anymore. I just have water. So a small drink. But you also used to talk about, people that were quite big on it. Said, oh, he thought it was no small drink. I hope Labour can deliver, Scottie. I really do. I shouldn't think so, Mr. Roblin, but we must give them the chance because some people have gone out and put an X beside their box. So there we go. No king of mine, Scottie. Everybody's king, big H. Get behind that. That's why we lose independence, because of people like you giving it not my king when, if we would just get behind the king, we would have a chance of independence. And then you could say to Westminster, when they go, what are you doing about the monarchy? Yes, that's why we can't have independence. We say, we are backing the monarchy. Scotland's on a winner. So there you go, Big H. So you get thinking, I'm not criticising you, Big H, but your thinking is very, very tiny. You need to listen to McClue and big up. What the hell happened to the country, Scottie? Exactly, Kenny. What the hell happened to it? They went in there, the Tories had been in so long, they started rifling the till. And the money's gone. That's what happened to the country. Yes, what was it we gave away during the pandemic? £100 billion went to a drug company in Europe. £100 billion of your hard-earned money. Straight to a drug company in Europe. Yes, there you go. That's it. Somebody made that decision. The Westminster election will have no relevance after the Holyrood election in 2 years' time. Neil the Scots, I think you've got a point. I have to tell you, yes to independence, there we are. The SNP's finished long. No, Johnny, the SNP's 90 years old and is not finished at all. So there you go. In fact, the SNP, 90 years old. So what we're talking, it must be nearly 92. I thought it was 1932 it was founded. Maybe it was 1934. Anyway, the Labour movement is only about 40 years older, and the Tories go back a bit more. Tories and Whigs go back a bit more. And then at the Union, it was decided that Scotland could send, 45 MPs to the House of Commons and 16 to the House of Lords. And all the ones that had sold us out probably get into the Lords. It's not by SNP. A lot learned vote Labour to oust Tories. Yes. Now, most peculiar, I thought we did it in 2014. Reform, says Johnny, reform. Johnny, what about Reform Scotland? Should I speak to Nigel and say, look, like yourself, I'm not big on actually getting in there and standing, but what about Reform Scotland? Should they give up on independence and spending millions therein? Jamie, we've not spent very much on independence. If you think £20 million spent on independence is big, 250 billion was spent on Brexit. The Tories have frittered 500 billion. So don't be guilt-tripped into thinking Scotland spent on independence. You ain't seen nothing yet, I tell you. If we'd spent 500 billion on independence, then you'd have seen it happen. Thoughts on the election? Well, Dylan, that's what we've been at Oh, morning. I tell you, guys, I'm going to have to go soon. Scotland will have independence in my lifetime, says Neil. Yes, Neil. So disappointed Scots fell for the Labour grift. Jerry, good point. We'll be independent by 2030. Scotty, would you employ any of the party leaders? Nigel. I would have Nigel, I think, as my Chancellor. Yes, yes. So I would employ Nigel and Alex Salmond right away. In you come, big man. I think that's kind of it, really. Did you like that? It's not a choice, but it's the best option. Can you name a plane for an edit? Sopwith Camel. There you go. Thank you for your service. I thank you, sir. Yes, indeed. Labour are as bad as the Tories. Well, we said this before the election. Two cheeks of the same face. You know, very, very obvious. And what we've done is we've opted for the merry-go-round. Labour, Tory, Tory, Labour, Labour, Tory. You know, and it's not, we needed a new. I think everybody should just have had Nigel in as the new face of politics. If Labour fails as another unionist party, it will make Scotland's independent plan more relevant. Well, Niall, good point, and they will fail. I mean, you've got to remember, Labour in Scotland have been in the political wilderness. Well, Labour have been in the political wilderness for a long time. And they're really not used to government, you know. So it'll take a while to settle in. Are you from Stillgame? No, sadly I'm not from Stillgame, but apparently I was the original inspiration for Stillgame. So there you go. I tell you. Tories are corrupt. I think definitely, yeah. Hand in the till, I tell you. SNP still spend millions on indie, daylight robbery, and increase our tax. No, Jamie. No, don't even look at that. Pennies. You can never spend too much on indie. You can't put a price on indie. They obviously haven't spent enough, or we would be independent. I was 14 when the independence referendum was called. How is it fair that I can't vote? Well, a lot of Scots couldn't vote yesterday because Rishi, intentionally or by accident, had called the election at the school holidays when everybody was away. You can't keep calling a vote till you get the result you want. No, but you can start to make it quite clear what's happening. For instance, Brexit. The referendum was a con. The government were very big on remaining in Europe. I've still got the pamphlet, the booklet. Yeah? So, that should never have happened. So you could say that referenda are a very bad idea because we've only had two and the result has not been what it actually should have been. Yeah? So we shouldn't have voted to come out of Europe at that stage, and we also shouldn't have voted to remain in the Union of Scotland and the UK. Yeah, economically wise, I'm not political, guys. I'm not interested in scoring political points. Why does Scotland vote Labour? Labour not left-wing anymore? Starmer will do nothing for the UK. I think you've probably got a point, Duncan, but we shall see. You've got to give the man a chance. Reform Scotland, let's go right-wing. Yes, right-wing, big money. Get into Scotland. It's not a case of voting until you get what you want. No, it's not. It's a case of, Scotland deciding, look, here's what independence really means. You know, we're not a ragbag of a party. We're a proper, serious, heavy political Scottish party. And what we're saying is this is what independence will mean. We've got the monarchy coming with us. We've got the currency sorted out. We're going to get rid of the Barnett formula. We're going to keep our own money, about 75, 80 billion of it. Yeah, we're then going to start trading. selling our oil and our water and our wind and wave power and our gas and our coal. Well, Scottie, the British agricultural industry has had it now. Alistair, we need to get back to agriculture, feed the world, instead of manufacturing weapons. Turn your swords into ploughshares. Turn your spears into pruning hooks. Where have I got that from? I've got it from the book of Isaiah. Behold, the mountain of the Lord in latter days shall rise. Look it up. Look the Scottish paraphrase up to the tune Glasgow. Behold, the mountain of the Lord in latter days shall rise. Yes, and then you've got the verse, to ploughshares men shall beat their swords, to pruning hooks their spears. All manufacturing, all engineering, food, growth, agriculture. That's when we had big money in this country, when just before the Industrial Revolution, we had the Agrarian Revolution, agriculture, and the money was in the countryside. And you had the big houses, the big estates, the farms, growing stuff, making wool for wearing, leather from the cows for shoes. Yes, indeed. Imagine voting against independence. Why would anybody vote against independence? It's a gift. I tell you, thank you for joining my team. What meat goes in stovies? Jay, we don't know. And we have been arguing this for years. This is probably even bigger than the election. Is there meat in stovies? And if so, what meat is it? And that's bigger than any election or any cabinet meeting or anything like that. How much control do the Zionists hold over the Labour Party? Well, there are Zionists everywhere. But I think you will find, and this is, I'm not going to say too much, but this is very big picture thinking. I think you'll find that the Zionists will run into the buffers at some point as well. Hi, Scottie, I just bought my first house with my girlfriend. Did you do a swap for her or what? No, only teasing. That is wonderful news, Fainyan. I am very, very pleased. Yes, so there we are. How's Nigel, the new face who's been kicking about for years? No, but actually standing. I think Nigel was very generous to the Tories the last time, and probably, I don't know the ins and outs, but probably didn't stand to give the Tories a chance, you know, because Boris was saying, yeah, let's get Brexit done, and ho, there we are, all that stuff. I tell you. Richard Tanner is back giving to Scottie McClue again with more red roses. Richard, you are so very, very kind. What about the ratio between pensioners to workers? How would that have an impact? You can't judge things that way. That social side of it. Because you could have a farm run by the farmer and his wife and family, and it turns in millions or even billions. So it's a big discussion. It's not as simple as that. Does anybody know how long I've been on here for? Can anybody tell me? I need to know. How do we know? How do we do this? Oh, my goodness me. Here it is here. I've been on for 43 minutes. Fantastic. Has everybody followed? The SNP are just as corrupt as the rest of them. No, General Scott. You can't make general statements like that, General Scott. You know, there are varying degrees. The SNP are nowhere near the level of corruption of the Tories. You know? I mean, remember the Tories have squandered £500 billion of your money. Scott, have you ever been to Loch Ericht in Ben Alder? Yes, I have. I hear a few of the Queen's cousins have been there. heavy, Mr. Roblin. Well, you'll know more about that than me. What's the ratio between... Oh, yes, we've done that one, haven't we? Now, here we are. Your jumper's awfully bobbly. Yes, well, you know, I mean, we're not made of money. What's your economic knowledge? Well, I was a banker with a B for 4 years, and I have for over 50 years studied international affairs, politics and economics, and I've had 40 years on television and radio discussing it. So probably quite good. I have 2 degrees. I have an IQ of 164. You know, so probably okay, Pops Rocks. What did you want to know? Did you want to know about your savings certificates? There we go. Do you vote SNP? Well, I won't say. Are you proud to be Scottish? How could you not be proud to be Scottish? Being born a Scot is perhaps the greatest gift God could give you. Don't waste it, I tell you. Get following, guys. Devil that talks the most at family events. Oh, absolutely. You're some chanter, so you are, says wee Lorna. Absolutely, wee Lorna. And I bet you're a chanter too. Mrs. Doubtfire is sending me team bracelets. She sent a fortune. A fortune, Mrs. Doubtfire. Haggis and iron brew. Yes, strange mix. Yes, sheep pluck, liver, lungs, heart, and some iron brew, yes. The strikers destroyed the industry. No, they didn't, Jay. No, don't blame them. Governments would love you. Mrs. Thatcher. Oh, it was the strikers that caused the mines to shut. Sorry, can't buy that one. She was a baddie. There we are. Now, what have we got? Any meat that you want in stovies. No, there will be a... Richard has sent more red roses. Did you do Scottie McClue, says Rachel. Thank you, Rachel. You're very, very kind. Mrs. Doubtfire has sent me 62 red roses. I tell you. Thanks for the honest answer about the Zionists. You should have stood, Scottie. Love the show, Scottie. TikTok.com, I thank you so much. You're very, very kind. Now, I do love the George Galloway references, I tell you. Fantastic. Aren't you proud that Scotland didn't vote reform? Well, no. If we could have Reform Scotland and they're an independence party, then, you know, we're talking big business there, aren't we? In more ways than one. Being born a Scot is a privilege. Mrs. Doubtfire sent me team bracelets. Scottie is a Scottish legend. Well, I've been about for 40 years in Scotland. I've done all your ITV companies reading the news. And then I was on every radio station in Scotland. And then here we are on social media for Scotland. I tell you. Look up the definition of Tory in the dictionary. It comes up, corrupt, line your own pocket. Well, it will do, Neil. What else would you think? The Tories and the Whigs. Have you ever had a look at the Whigs, Neil? Dinky-doo, Scottie McClue. Please don't mention that name. Oh, Maggie. Oh, no, I want Maggie Thatcher. Don't mention Maggie Thatcher. Maybe the people who are richer than our head of state, controlling the country, only want money. Well, Ollie, they do. But they don't realise that one day, not God will call them, the devil will call them. And they'll go to the hot place. You see? I heard a lovely story. A politician was given the option of, did he want to go to heaven or hell when he died? And they took him to heaven and it was just completely barren. And they took him to hell and it was beautiful. Beautiful trees and all that stuff, you know. Anyway, he died and they took him to hell and it was barren. There's nothing beautiful about it. And he said, when you took me to hell, it was beautiful. Now look at it, it's barren. And they said, no, you see, when we took you to hell the first time, we were campaigning for the election. But now that the election's finished, This is what it's actually like. There we go. Did you like that one, guys? Revelations. I remember chatting to you, Scottie, about 30 years ago on the phone in. Would be Beetle Boy, 30 years this year. You look a lot older with the bonnet. Chuck it away, Scottie. Eastie. I look a lot older without it. Are you ready? Ho! 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 There you go. See? That's put your gas at a peep. I don't think the people that make up Reform are the nicest. Do you think the people that make up the Tories are the nicest? Do you think the people that make up the Labour are the nicest? Do you think the people that make up the SNP are the nicest? You know, when you watched the Tories speaking in the Scottish Parliament, did they seem the nicest? You know, that sort of stuff. You've got to think about that. How do Scottie from Northern Ireland? Ollie, it's lovely to have you with us from Northern Ireland. I tell you that for nothing. Now, what's the time? I'm going to have to go soon. How's Scottie from Bavaria? We love you in Bavaria. Yes, Liebchen. Nicht Deutsch sprechen, ich bin ein Ausländer. Nicht verstehen. Nicht verstehen. Scottie for the First Minister. I think I'd make a very good First Minister. I've been told that. But we'd have to see. I'm not a politician, though, you see. I won't tell a lie. I'm quite happy about the Labour landslide. Why, Mrs. Lannery? Just because it got the Tories out. Queen Katie says, hello, it's been a long time, Queen Katie. It's been far too long. Don't you dare leave it as long next time. God save the Queen from the fascist regime. Yes, Michael. Well, the Queen's gone, so it's God save the King from the fascist regime. Scottie, do you remember when we talked about Queen Victoria 4 years ago in your life? I do. Was it 4 years? Wow. Well, the dog's been away 3 and a bit. Brilliant, says Neil the Scot. William McKeever says he talks nonsense. Don't worry about it, William. There's a few of us about. They aren't the nicest, but Reform are a new level. Reform are more blatant in their elitism. Vardo, there's no evidence of that. People like to stick these labels on, but I've never seen it. And I'm not somebody that doesn't spot things. Scottie, hold me to account. We lads from East Glasgow will be Prime Minister one day. Yourself? I don't see why not. I think what we need is someone who's not a politician. Yes, somebody like myself who's into fair dues. That's not fair dues. Can you imagine First Minister's question time with Scottie McClue? Could I ask the First Minister how you can? But I'll not be giving an answer to that. Or I'll be saying, fair dues? Oh, that's lush. Small drink. Who have we got here? I'm from the same tune as you, Scottie, from Greenock. Dinky-doo, Scottie, Wheels O'Neill. Lovely to have you with us, Dinky-doo. How are you? Dinky-doo, what are your opinions on Labour winning? Well, I mean, you know, it's just another cheek of the same face. That's what I would say. I'd be very surprised if things change. I'd be very surprised if your tax goes down. I'm very surprised if we see any socialism. But I'm the East End, you're posh. Vardo, where on earth did you get that from? If you think I'm posh, well, the rest, like Dan says, morning moosh. Morning, Dan. Lovely to have you with us, Dinky-doo. Guys, I'm going to have to push off. Get following. Very important. And West End, mate, just saying, the West End. You can't beat the West End or the East End. The East End's like another city. If tomorrow was yesterday, when is today? Blair, fantastic. We love it. Isolani, I wish you all the best. I'd love to see that. Absolutely. Well, we've had wee boys from the East End make it big in politics. Do you remember Manny Shinwell? Lord Shinwell. He was brought up in a single end, as far as I remember. There we are. Follow us, guys, as soon as you possibly can. And watch all the TikTok videos. I've got to go now. Hey, good Scottie. You too, Neil the Scot. It's been an absolute privilege being with you all. It's midday. Don't miss the 12 o'clock bus. I love you. Dinky doo.